Hello and welcome to English for You. I'm Seb.
I'm Chickling.
And today we're talking about parties, which we're both super in the mood for right now.
Okay.
So, Chickling, what is the weirdest or strangest or wildest party you've ever been to?
Okay, I have to say something first. I am not a party goer.
Okay.
But I think I've only been to like 3 parties in my life, and that's
3.
Yeah, because I don't really like being around a lot of people. Yeah, but what about you? I think you can talk about this.
I think I've been to about 3 parties in the last week.
Okay.
So, lots of weird and wild.
Was it wild?
Okay. Yeah, there have been a few wild ones. I could tell you about the very first party I went to in Taipei, which was 4 years ago. I came at Halloween, and I went to one right next to Taipei 101, on the roof next to Taipei 101. And that was a really crazy party, a really fun party, a lot of games there. It was Halloween, obviously, so there was a lot of themed stuff going on. But also you can have some really fun parties during festivals. And I used to go to a lot of these when I was in Spain. When I used to live in Spain.
All right, so you speak Spanish very well. I know that, yeah.
Sí que hablo español. So they have lots in Spain. You have the Fiestas Mayores, which are big parties that every village has through the summer. There's obviously New Year's Eve, which is a really big event. But there is one very special party that happens in Valencia, which is a little town. Well, not little town, it's about 1 million people, but a city on the east coast of Spain. And they have something very special called Las Fallas. Oh, okay. And that is what we're going to be learning about today.
Oh, yay!
Okay, so let's
get started.
Reading. Fun and flames at Las Fallas de Valencia. Bang! A loud cracking sound suddenly wakes you from your sleep. It's 8 a.m. in Valencia, Spain, and the city is normally very quiet at this time. But today is no ordinary day. Outside, locals play traditional instruments and throw special firecrackers called chon de bac to wake up the city. They're doing this for a reason. Today is March 15th, the first day of Las Fallas. No one knows how old Valencia's loudest festival is. However, there's evidence that something like it existed in the Middle Ages. It's said that the city's carpenters would burn old furniture on St. Joseph's Day, March 19th. However, by the 19th century, these fires had been replaced by something else. People began using wood, fabric, and paper to build huge falla statues across town. With Spain suffering several political crises during this time, these monuments often made fun of current events and public figures. On St. Joseph's Day, the locals would set fire to them and watch them burn down. It's a tradition that continues today as one of the most important events in the Valencian calendar.
Okay, so today's article is called Fun and Flames at Las Fallas de Valencia, and it starts like this. Bang! A loud cracking sound suddenly wakes you from your sleep. Okay, so we saw the word cracking there, which is an adjective that comes from the verb to crack. And when something cracks, it makes a loud snapping sound. So, for example, if you have a whip, you crack the whip, and the whip cracks as it hits something. It makes that kind of like snap, I can't click my fingers, a sound, that really bangy sound. So we often use this to talk about fireworks as well. We can talk about a firework cracking as it goes off, or booming as well. It's another sound. But crack can also mean to break the surface of something, so kind of like 破裂. So my phone screen cracked when I dropped it.
And then the article says it's 8 a.m. It's 8 a.m. in Valencia, Spain, and the city is normally very quiet at this time.
Right, that's not the time that you would hear like a big bang or a big crack. No, because normally it's quiet at this time. Now, normally is an adverb. a word that we use to show that something is done in its normal, common, or most frequent way. If I say I normally go to school by bus, then normally shows that I take the bus to school by habit. We can also use it to stress that something is out of the ordinary is happening. So, for example, Emma normally has Chinese class on Tuesdays, but today she is sick. So similar words we could also talk about are frequently, so something you do very often. I frequently visit Hualien, for example. Or what is an opposite we could give?
Seldom.
Seldom, right, yeah. So something that we don't do very often.
So maybe you can say the streets of Tokyo are seldom quiet.
Right, they're always busy.
Yeah, it's always busy. 好，那我们来看一下 normally 这一个副词哦，它是通常的呀、照惯例的意思。所以刚刚老师说 bang 就一大声，就是一个噼啪作响，这个 cracking sound 把你从睡梦中叫醒了。所以这个是 Valencia 是一个叫做瓦伦西亚的一个城市，是在西班牙。那么早上8点，通常来说是非常安静的。那我们再造一个例句 ，like for me, I normally get up at 6 o'clock。那么如果是形容词的话 like very easy. You take out the ly at the end and it becomes the adjective of the word. You can say the temperature is above normal today. I think it's actually below normal today. 今天的温度是比平常更高一些，那比较低你可以说 below. 那么不正常呢，你可以说 abnormal， 就是也是一个形容词哦。So next the article says, but today is no ordinary day.
Right. Normally it's very quiet, but as today is not an ordinary day, it's a little bit loud. So what's happening in Valencia? Well, the article says outside locals play traditional instruments and throw special firecrackers called trons de bac to wake up the city. So we have another vocab word there, instrument, which is a noun, and an instrument is something we use to make music. So pianos, violins, trumpets, guitars, they're all instruments. We can play an instrument, so for example, Emma played the saxophone, or we can play a piece on a musical instrument. So Emma played us a tune or played us a piece on the saxophone. She made a song, basically. As instruments are something we need to practice to be good at, we often say that we learn how to play an instrument or simply we learn an instrument. Now here's one example sentence for you. Sue has learned how to play 3 instruments, the violin, the guitar, and the piano.
好，大家我们来看一下 instrument 这个名词，它是乐器的意思，在文章中是名词。那我们弹乐器用的动词，刚刚 Seb 老师有提到，就是用 play 这一个字，所以去弹一个乐器，你可以说 to play an instrument。那么呢，我们如果在后面加上 al， 它可以当名词或者是形容词哦。那当名词的时候呢，可以当乐曲的意思。那形容词就是乐器演奏的。那就像是我们上网要找伴奏，或者是你想要找伴奏，用乐器弹吧，没有人声唱的，就可以叫做 instrumental。好，那么如果呢，你在后面加上 ist， 它更长了，变成 instrumentalist 或 instrumentalist， 它就是有乐器演奏者的意思，它是个名词。好，那我们看一下例句 ：Which instruments do you play？ 你弹什么乐器？那么，instrument 这个字呢，除了当乐器，它还是可以当一种工具 ，like a tool or device that is used for performing a particular piece of work。譬如说医生的一些器具，你可以说 A doctor's instruments must be kept absolutely clean， 就是医生的器具呢，一定都要很干净。
Okay, so they're playing traditional instruments and they're also throwing firecrackers, which is our next vocab word. Now that's a noun, and if we think back to the first word we learnt today, cracking, then we can kind of get an idea of what a firecracker is, okay? So if cracking is a really loud banging sound and fire is fire, then what do you get when you put fire and a big bang together? Well, it's kind of like a firework, right? Yeah. So a firecracker is a small thing that explodes when you set fire to it or you throw it at the ground. In Asia, firecrackers are normally tied up to a long string and hung up or put on the ground. Then you light one at the end of it and they all explode very quickly. I'm saying that right? It's kind of like a lot of little ones together and then they go like bang, 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 bang.
The red ones.
Exactly. So the ones in Spain are a little bit different. They're smaller and they come in a box. Now, during Las Fallas, people don't set fire to the firecrackers. They throw them at the ground. And basically, I think inside there's two little stones. So when they hit the ground, they make a spark and the whole thing goes poof.
Oh.
So if you go on YouTube and type in Trons de Bac, which is Trons space DE space BAC, you can see people throwing these little fireworks at the ground. Okay, let's move forward and look at an example sentence now. Jason let off some firecrackers outside the temple on the night before Chinese New Year.
好 ，OK， 那我们看一下 firecracker， 这个是小朋友很喜欢玩的。那我们的动词可以说 let off， 所以是 let off firecrackers， 就是去放鞭炮或爆竹的意思。譬如说 the kids are letting off firecrackers， 那么老师刚刚提到的 firework 就是烟火。譬如说看烟火，你就可以说a firework display。But basically, you know, firecrackers explode near the ground, like what we see in Spain, or what Seb was talking about. But fireworks explodes in the sky. 大部分是这样子啦。那我们文章得知，在室外早上8点，当地人会弹传统乐器以及放鞭炮。
Oh, and do you guys in Taiwan, do you have sparklers?
OK， 那刚刚 Seb 老师提到的 sparkler 就是台湾的仙女棒，你可以拿着，然后它在那边亮亮亮亮亮的。那为什么叫 sparkler？ 你们觉得很好记？因为 spark 有火花、亮花的意思，所以你在 spark 后面加上 er 就是会发光的棒啦，所以就是仙女棒咯。
So they're doing this for a reason. Today is March 15th, the first day of Las Fallas.
哦，好，那为什么要放鞭炮呢？跟弹传统乐器呢？因为今天呢是3月15号，是这个 Festival Las Fallas 的第一天哦。那么接下来文章又说了 ，No one knows how old Valencia's loudest festival is. Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's been around for a long. We know it's been around for a long time because then the article says, however, there's evidence that something like it existed in the Middle Ages. So remember, the Middle Ages, in Europe at least, tends to be from somewhere after kind of like the 9th, 10th century, all the way through to the 15th century. So a very long time ago. Like I think maybe like Tang Dynasty or like around there in like Chinese history. Roughly around then is when they first knew about something like this. So evidence we saw as well. Evidence is an object or fact that proves something. When someone is taken to court, the judge, that's 法官, will want to see evidence that proves that someone has done something wrong.
OK， 那么老师刚刚一直讲哦，他说这个节庆历史其实是很悠久，但是其实我们没有人知道大概是多么的悠久。那么这边有说一个 evidence 就是证据，所以有证据说呢，在中世纪时代就存着这个节庆了。Right.
So what is the history behind this? Well, it's said that the city's carpenters would burn old furniture on St. Joseph's Day, March the 19th.
好，那我们来看一下今天的英文练功坊。今天讲到的是 it is said or believed, reported 这些字，后面再加上一个 that 怎么样怎么样。那这个句型呢，我们是来表示据说啊、据信啊，或者据报道怎么样的。那么这个 it 呢是虚主词哦，那 that 引导的子句才是真正的主词。我们先回到我们的文章中看一下句子。It's said that the city's carpenters would burn old furniture on St. Joseph's Day, March 19th. 这一句呢，我们可以把句型改写成不定词的结构，我们可以把它变成 It is said, believe, reported that. 你直接把它改成主词放前面，什么 is said, believe, reported to 怎么样。我们看一下例句就会很清楚。比如说 The city's carpenters are set to burn old furniture on St. Joseph's Day, March 19th. 所以你就知道说前面先放一个主词，后面再加上一个 to 就好了。
Okay, so we also saw the word carpenter, and a carpenter is someone whose job it is to make things out of wood. Now, this needs to be someone who does it for money. If you do you make things out of wood as a hobby, then you say that you do woodwork. So regardless of whether you're a carpenter or you just do woodwork for fun, there are some useful verbs that you need to know. So, for example, carve, which is a verb and it means to cut things or like shapes out of wood. Or you could also saw something, that's, cut something in half using a big metal knife.
Like the movie, like the film.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry.
I was going to eat after this, but I'm not going to eat now. And hammer as well. We can hammer things with a hammer. So it's a noun and a verb. Okay, so let's jump forward now to an example sentence. Tim's dad is a carpenter and he's known for making high-quality chairs and tables.
好，所以 carpenter 就是木匠、工匠的意思。那老师刚刚提到，如果是你一般喜欢做兴趣用木头做，就是 woodwork。好，那么木匠业呢叫做 carpentry。好，所以譬如说 he learned carpentry from his grandfather， 他跟他的爷爷学会怎么做木匠的。好，那么所以据说呢，在3月19号这个圣荷西节的城市的木匠就会把旧的家具烧掉。那么我们再继续到文章下面哦，他说了 ，However, by the 19th century, these fires have been replaced by something else. Okay.
I wonder by what? Well, the article says people began using wood, fabric, and paper to build huge fire statues across town.
我们这边看到 fabric is material for making clothes， 这边代表布料的意思，所以知道说19世纪不能再烧家具啦，所以大家开始用木头、布料或者纸类来建造很大型的 fire 的雕像。
With Spain suffering several political crises during this time, these monuments often made fun of current events and public figures. Okay, so we saw two useful bits of vocab there. First, the verb suffer. Now, when we suffer something, we go through something difficult or painful. So it's kind of like 遭到 in Chinese. So for people in Spain during the 19th century, life was difficult because of the political crises. Therefore, we say that they suffered from them. So suffer from, we use the preposition from there, and then we add what the thing is that is causing you pain. So we can also use suffer to talk about having or experiencing a disease. So Ben's son suffers from breathing problems. Or we could also talk about suffering in silence. So to suffer in silence is not to do with actual pain, but it is to endure something really bad or really uncomfortable without complaining or without anyone wanting to listen to you. So for example, the students were expected to suffer in silence while the teacher talked on and on for hours and hours. They couldn't do anything about it, they just had to listen. Here's an example sentence now. This town suffers from a lack of electricity and clean water.
好，那 suffer 就是遭受、蒙受的意思，所以我们常看到的片语就是 to suffer from something， 就是承受什么之苦哦。譬如说 some people in the world suffer from hunger. That means that they are always hungry. And we also saw the word monument. So a monument is a structure or building that's built to honor a special event or person. 就是纪念物、纪念碑的意思。那因为当时呢，西班牙正饱受政府的危机，所以当时建造的纪念雕像啊，大部分都是在 make fun of， 就是嘲笑一件事情。So Seb, I think we saw another word, right? Current.
We did, yeah.
So what does that mean?
Okay, so current is our last vocab word of the day. It's an adjective, and when we describe something as current, we mean that it is happening at the time that the speaker is speaking. So in the article, we saw current events and public figures. So we're saying that we're talking about events and public figures that were around or happening at the time that they built the fire statues. But if I talk about current events now, we're talking about, the news today.
Right.
So let's use some more examples to explain that. If I talk about a woman called Josie, and I say she has a husband, and I talk about Josie's current husband, that has some implied meaning, doesn't it?
But yeah, but it kind of makes me feel like she has so many husbands.
It does. It sounds like she had one before and she got rid of him and now she has a new one.
Always have different ones, yeah.
Exactly. So her current husband is the husband she has right now.
Okay.
So who is the husband she used to have? That would be her previous husband.
Okay.
Yeah, so we use previous to talk about people or things that were happening or around before but aren't now. So perhaps she got a divorce, perhaps she killed him, we don't know.
We don't.
And if we want to talk about a husband that Josie is going to have in the future, we will call him her future husband.
Okay.
So there's Josie moving through several husbands in one paragraph. Let's do one last example sentence now. This car isn't safe to drive in its current condition, but it will be once it is repaired.
好，所以 current 这边是一个形容词，是的，现在的、当前的。老师刚刚那个举例很好，大家很清楚吧？那么代表说呢，这个雕像都在取笑当前的事件跟公众人物。那我们也会用 currently 这一个副词，有现在、当前的意思。譬如说他现在失业，你就可以说 he is currently unemployed，他现在是没有工作的。or current 也可以当名词，有气流、水流啊，或趋势的意思。譬如说 she was swept out to sea by the strong current，可能海流太强了。那么大家也再注意一下 currency 这个名词可以当货币或者是流通的意思。
Okay, so we're on to our next sentence. On St. Joseph's Day, the locals would set fire to them and watch them burn down. Okay, so we're carrying on that tradition of fires on St. Joseph's Day, but now we're giving it extra meaning. We're making these special sculptures and we're setting fire to them. But what does that last phrase mean?
Okay, set fire to. 大家明显 set 就是设置，那把火设置在什么上面，就是放火烧的意思，点燃。So 那文章又说了 ，It's a tradition that continues today as one of the most important events in the Valencian calendar. 所以到了现在，当地还是一个非常重要的传统。It's still a tradition today, right?
It is a tradition. In fact, I've actually been.
Oh, really?
Yes, yeah.
Do you want to?
A long time ago.
Okay.
But,
Did you like it?
Oh, yeah, it's a lot of fun. It is very, very loud. We are going to be talking a little bit more about what happens during Las Fallas today. But we've run out of time today, so let's quickly do a For You chat question and move on.
For You chat.
Okay, so we're on to our For You chat question, and it's a good one. What other holidays can you think of that use fire or fireworks? How are they similar to Las Fallas, and how are they different? So I think, Chiklin, you know a couple in Taiwan which are a little bit similar, right?
I think the only one I can think of right now is a traditional religious event or festival that's called 盐水风炮, and I think it always takes place in southern Taiwan.
Right, at the beginning of the year, right? It's like February, I think.
Have you heard of that though? I'm not really sure about the time.
I think it's in the winter. I think it's in the winter.
Okay,
yeah, like maybe
okay.
February that they set it off.
Okay. Have you heard? Yeah, have you been to the event like in person?
No, I've been thinking about going, but it's, you know, they fire the fireworks into the crowd.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I feel about
I think it's very
someone
dangerous.
firing fireworks at me.
Yeah, and that's why I'm always trying to get away from fire.
Yeah, like not to get burnt. In the UK, we have one which is quite similar, actually.
Okay.
We don't build the same sculptures as in Spain, but on the 5th of November, we celebrate Guy Fawkes Day. And on that day, we make a guy, because Guy Fawkes was a real guy, out of old clothes. And we put him on top of a big fire and we set fire to him. It's a beautiful English tradition because 500 years ago we did burn someone alive. There's a lot of history behind it. But basically we prevented a big terrorist attack in London where the king would have been blown up. And so we celebrate it today by burning a man, a fake man on a fire and setting off lots of fireworks. So there's some similarities. Okay, well, that's all the time we've got for today, unfortunately, but tomorrow we'll be talking about what they actually do during Las Fallas today, like nowadays. So join us then. For English for You, I'm Seb.
I'm Chickling.
And we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Fun and flames at Las Fallas de Valencia. Bang! A loud cracking sound suddenly wakes you from your sleep. It's 8 a.m. in Valencia, Spain, and the city is normally very quiet at this time. But today is no ordinary day. Outside, locals play traditional instruments and throw special firecrackers called chon de bac to wake up the city. They're doing this for a reason. Today is March 15th, the first day of Las Fallas. No one knows how old Valencia's loudest festival is. However, there's evidence that something like it existed in the Middle Ages. It's said that the city's carpenters would burn old furniture on St. Joseph's Day, March 19th. However, by the 19th century, these fires had been replaced by something else. People began using wood, fabric, and paper to build huge falla statues across town. With Spain suffering several political crises during this time, these monuments often made fun of current events and public figures. On St. Joseph's Day, the locals would set fire to them and watch them burn down. It's a tradition that continues today as one of the most important events in the Valencian calendar.
Vocabulary Review.
Normally. Normally, I finish work at 6 p.m., but today I have to stay until 9 p.m. Instrument. Emma plays several instruments, including the piano and the violin. Firecracker. Henry threw a firecracker at the floor, and it exploded with a bang. Carpenter. A carpenter made this chair out of a single tree trunk. Suffer. Ryan suffered for years in a job that he hated. Current. When the repairs on this car are finished, it'll look much better than it does in its current state.
智慧小补帖
Crack. Evidence. Fabric. Monument.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net